If you don't mind, please put the flashlight away. Some of us have photonic sensitivities.
Photonic sensitivity is not generally acknowledged by the medical establishment.
I do appreciate it. It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you?
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his projector, just watching the movement of light across the walls of the shop.
I haven't had any problems myself, though some of my customers have complained about inconsistent law enforcement.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained. Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. Oh God. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol Citizens Militia. And I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. Off-the-charts photon emissions, the unhealthy kind. She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy to get rid of it, and of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the Citizens Militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? In that case, she'll be happy to get a visit from us, if we can find her.
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it now. You'll just have to hope you luck upon her somehow.
Of course. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business, bad for everyone.
He doesn't know anything. The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them. The spinners appear iridescent in the dancing light of his pawn shop.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud some foreign prince for them? Jump a mesk banger? No matter. I'll give you 200 real.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course, I meant no offense. 200 real for you, officer. Delightful doing business with you. Do come again.
Thank you. Here's the 30 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The rest is for him, to compensate for the pain of being separated from his radiant spinners.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Anything else you're thinking of selling? I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. And especially that tie. It swallows photons around it. I have no need for necrotic objects.
Your mother is a necrotic object! I'm fun! Look at me sparking in the light of the projector!
Another time, perhaps. Greetings on this fine night. What brings you here? The pawn shop is always open.
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward? Lucky bastard, he's probably on Perolidon. It's tough to come by on the street. A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
I try to keep the shop at a comfortable temperature.
Those triangle patches on his vest, you have a feeling they mean something, like they're similar to the halogen rectangle on your jacket.
I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade. You know, after the People's Pile disaster. Had to take Perolidon for radiation sickness. That's what you were hinting at just now, wasn't it? A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned. Radioactive waste everywhere. Probably some of it in you too.
The People's Pile was a Type U particle decay generator that failed immediately after entering service, releasing radioactive waste into River Esperance. A primitive nuclear reactor, also called a pile. Construction began during the Commune of Revachol. The people continued work on it after the Commune fell. They wanted a cheap source of energy for Revachol West. Needless to say, things didn't work out. An emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure blowing the turbine, taking the fuel containment vessel up in the explosion. Both the faulty design and lack of finances contributed to the catastrophe.
We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized, tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill. I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance didn't have the art to let it all go to shit without trying to do something to help out. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud, years getting sick. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened, and why no one has tried to repair or replace the pile. So much disappointment, and early deaths, cancer mostly. And we knew all that was coming even as we were cleaning up as best we could. No one's, everyone's.
So much bitterness.
A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think is going to happen? The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, my second aunt died. Left me this shack and all the assorted junk in it. So I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I'm gonna get as far away from Forburg as I can. Still in the same city, but I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortices.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Have you tried it before?
It's almost like he's worried for you. The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on display. Looks like he doesn't want to get involved. Go ahead then, he thinks. As long as you can walk straight, I don't care. He won't be your knock, but he won't be thrilled about this either.
Here you go, man. Of course. Sure thing. Sure, man.
The boomboxes on the shelf look well. One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says Stereo 8 approved. This is you. Golden orange. A sunset suite. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Is the Harman Welsh W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul, plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real. If police work means playing tapes, sure, you can use it for that, or any other time you'd need to play a tape. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech, found sounds and music from a variety of genres, even though I don't really like music. And here you are, quality sound reproduction on the go. It'll play anything, wherever, turn any tape into a...
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty. Try to find something pretty and cool here, then use it to win her back. Yes, buy something nice, a figurine. Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks.
Franco-Nigerian knights. I used to be very serious about these guys.
A long, long time ago. They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with bayonets.
This is what the loyalists look like, yes, at first. Then they wised up and got camouflage.
Which ones? Ah, royalist soldiers from the time of the revolution. The uniforms are painted a bit too brightly, I suppose.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even shovels and tall sticks.
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, they are soldiers, revolutionary soldiers. I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. Okay, I don't like either set too much, to be honest.
Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic tracksuit trousers that say found.
Oh, that's the Headless Phone Rider. The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend about a man who rides the streets of Revachol sporting a fawn tracksuit. As you see, he's missing his head. 50 cents. Bargain priced. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it, or something. That part of the story has many interpretations.
He lost his cap when he lost his head. Perhaps he's looking for the head.
Did I mention that this figurine is supposed to be lucky? Always carry it with you.
That was a very smooth salesman's grin that almost comes off as earnest. You should learn from him. The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito and bullet hole. The box seems happy.
Can I help you? Yes. Have you got it? Well? Great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance starting tomorrow.
He's not sorry about his behavior for your sake. Now that you have money, he really wants to make sure you're not angry with him.
The electronic lock to your room has been disabled till 9 p.m. tomorrow. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you?
Yes?
No response. He just arches his brow. He's having trouble processing it, believing it even.
Have you tried concentrating on something other than your personal affairs?
There is a sudden, harsh edge to his voice, like he's tired of hearing about your personal affairs.
Try work, the case at hand. It can not a fan. It's just the nature of lieutenancy.
The RCM deploys a self-styled structure called the décomptage as its chain of command. Every lieutenant is responsible for 2 sergeants and 8 officers.
Fine. We should get through this day first. Off hours begin at 9 p.m. If you're still having trouble then, I can give you an orientation. Really? You look fine to me. This psychodrama is unbecoming of an officer.
Clearly, he prefers to think you're malingering. He cannot fathom that anyone could drink so much as to retroactively erase their entire life.
Then you should consider seeking medical attention. You can use the radio in my kinema to call your station's Lazareth. Was there anything else you wanted? Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. Alright, for the good of the investigation, what do you want to know? What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lieutenant's conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary. The lieutenant is a police officer of the old school. His concerns are material and extrinsic. But this isn't an old school case.
So what? That makes you the new school? God spare us. For real detective work, nothing beats a good notebook by your side.
The lieutenant produces his small blue notebook and idly thumbs through a few pages. We all have our different mediums. His is written.
That's correct.
You feel a slight urge to put the lieutenant down for this, but you can't quite muster enough testosterone.
Are they?
You could use a good, normal peer yourself.
That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul. So was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. It's a part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity and a geographic division. I told you it wouldn't be interesting.
Seoul is a protectionist, isolationist, pan-Isolari state west of the Insulindian Isola. Actually, it's quite interesting. Some would even say mysterious.
You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't speak a word of Seolite. I've never met either one of my grandparents, and I've never been to Seoul. I'm a regular Rêvacholière. No.
Your brain sends the signal to your lips, but they refuse the order. Something is paralyzing them. You're pretty sure it has something to do with the lieutenant's eyebrow. It's like you're locked down.
Something the matter, detective?
This guy's got authority off the charts. With just the flick of his eyebrow, he's able to make you his thrall. Nothing. You better hope he doesn't abuse his authority. There's a lot of it. The lieutenant relaxes his eyebrow, and you seem to regain control of yourself.
Good. Let's change the subject. Excuse me? You have a distinctive way of walking. If I were to walk in front of you, we would surely collide. I hope you don't take this the wrong way. It's just a collegial observation. In the 57th, we call it the Jamrock Shuffle. Officers from Jamrock's 41st Precinct tend to move a bit erratically. They say it's a scene-clearing technique developed by one of your lieutenants for gathering evidence. It's erratic, yet thorough. Prioritizes containers.
Yes, but containers contain things, shiny things. They're interesting.
I don't know. Containers contain, I guess. I'm making assumptions. We should move on.
Passing along frivolous interdepartmental stereotypes is not usually his oeuvre. He regrets bringing it up. This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. You had some questions earlier, I believe. And besides, we should discuss our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then,
Where shall we begin? We should talk about the investigation, first and foremost. But I also remember you wanting to discuss the RCM? I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
I apologize, but I only brought one with me. I have exactly one cigarette every night while going over my notes. You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will and unhealthy.
Yet, were he to quit, he would lose the cool factor. This man relishes his cool quite a bit below it all.
Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. Well, you were so hungover that you couldn't keep it down when we approached the hanged man, so we didn't even inspect the body. But we performed a thorough search of the premises of the crime scene. That's great. It's not my job to evaluate your methodology, officer. I'm just going through the facts. As for the interviews, we weren't able to find the union leader, Everard Clare, much less interview him. So that's on the to-do list for tomorrow. We didn't talk to the Wild Pines rep. We really must do that tomorrow. Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice? It's impressive, especially for a man your age, and in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. Goes with the orange. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic structure of Revachol. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station call slip. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up.
When power calls you, you come. But power itself is a fragile trick of perception.
As you may have gathered from the fact that we are expected to carry a record of our kills, like the one in your watermarks, we are permitted to use whatever force is necessary, and strongly admonished not to abuse that power. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. In these cases, your partner is usually your witness. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone, which is for the best. We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Courron and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. The coalition government and the moral intern more broadly. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. Be sentimental if you like. Either way, the moral intern leases us the right to keep the peace in this city, and they will take it away if we misuse it.
Or if they think you do.
The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats.
Those others say they continue the humanist project set forth by Dolores Day.
Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that.
Something kind and usual. Something almost self-explanatory. Something ominous.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me. The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it doesn't look like that's about to happen. Do you? We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Spoken like a revolutionary, not a cop. But hypothetical aside, in Martinez we already are vigilantes. At least the Union thinks so. I expect our job here to prove quite challenging.
The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds, they pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating the next drag. This soldier is the highlight of the day for me. he thinks. An aerostatic passes overhead, the whiskers of its floodlights on the ground below. Kitsuragi's glasses light up as he looks to the sky. 2 glowing circles.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different inland, in Jamrock and the GRIH. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. This place has fallen between the cracks, the jurisdictions of our 2 precincts. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works, our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate. Me too, but I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes. Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. The faucet is quite terribly mangled, but you just might be able to twist its parts into place. You handle the chain cutters deftly, applying just enough pressure. The faucet regains a recognizable shape. The steam stops. Told you that you needed those chain cutters. Everything is connected. Everything has a purpose. The mirror begins to clear slowly without you having to wipe it. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's barely covered in steam anymore. It's your face in the mirror, adorned with the expression. Still not happening. It won't come off that easy. It belongs in the new, the 3rd decade of the current century. Enough time had passed from the failure of the revolution that, for a fleeting moment, free market economy seemed like the ultimate, uncontested way of life for our species. Things were good. It was smooth sailing. People made gold and champagne-tinted interiors and facades to suit the times, calling this the new style. But more importantly, disco happened. Forget about ostentatious orchestrations. For Revachol, your city, that meant only one thing. Guillaume le Million. If it doesn't rhyme, you're not pronouncing it right. Out of the dazzling swirl of disco music, in an open-air boîte de nuit, somewhere in Revachol West, Guillaume's blonde mane appeared on the screen. He sang some bullshit. Then he made the expression. Everyone loved it. Maybe you thought some of the stardust would rub off on you. Maybe it did. Either way, it's all gone now. Only the grimace remains. The click is used to spur on a horse. It also features heavily in Guillaume le Million's regional mega hit, Don't Worry, Your Pretty Little Head. Sometimes you like to add finger pistols to the mix, because, unlike Guillaume le Million, you are a police officer. It's your nifty little way to say, I'm armed and dangerous. There is a vast ocean of time between right now and the expression, looking good on you, or anyone. 2 decades, if the calendar is to be trusted. Humanity has run aground in that time. It's a different world now. The expression is a relic. You have some understanding of the near history of Disco, plus the trivia you've picked up along the way. Episodic memory, however, remains in the dark. Not really. OO must have just stirred your mind. They're more like a disco rock band anyway. It doesn't have to be. You can swoon over Guillaume and his champagne-corked smile whenever you want to. Maybe some of the stardust will return. Still not happening. The bed is cold and not particularly inviting. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep. And then sleep doesn't come. Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed, but it's not happening. Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing. Under your thrumming eyelids, you see a dizzying array of colors. You won't get off this carousel quite so easily. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it? Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves. Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? You're not kidding anyone, Harry. You don't remember shit. Tell me, do you remember your wife's hand on your face? You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets, wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry dear. And it's coming. She will hear about it on the phone. Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs, between her legs and in her mouth? Oh no, funky baby, you stayed. It was the rest of it that left. Or you just stood there, with one hand on the bottle and the other on your dick, watching it go. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium. Everything. The pale and the useless. On the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up. No, you haven't. You're just sleep-talking. And the act is wearing thin, too. The spots on the disco ball fade around you. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time, sweating up the bed.
Stinky boy.
You're not coming back from shit, thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who are you kidding? You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too, so soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork, barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Oh, just a dream. You have ones like that all the time. You feel even worse this morning than you did last night. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. Don't do that. Stay strong. The hangover will wear off. You don't need to keep doing this to yourself. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you propped up all day yesterday, despite your debilitating hangover. How else did you think you even got up from this floor? You got up from this floor because of a holy vow you made 16 years ago. With me. To wake up exactly 7:30 every morning until the day you die. Don't be silly. There was no vow. You were high on speed. That was the only reason you got up. You can't detect without it. It's, of course, Martinez is speed central. You just gotta poke around, follow your nose. You and Speed will be happy again. You will make her come home. This time, it will be different. The door is closed. Still nothing. Still nothing.
Morning. Looks like we can get to work at once. The union muscle turned up. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about. And one big problem to replace it. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by men who drink beer for breakfast. There's talk of an armed wing of the union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I think it's them. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the Debarders Union. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool head, okay? Everything points to the dock workers union. The tracks in the mud, the circumstances in Martinez, my preliminary information. Which may, of course, all be wrong. But we still need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Good. A power move. Purposefully concentrate on something else first. Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I live.
Can I help you?
Just a moment, officer. And there's no public phones nearby?
She's agitated and keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. Now then. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague? This is something to look into later. Ask God, maybe.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi, may I ask what you needed to use the phone for, madame?
To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel. Oh, forgive me for not introducing myself. My name is Lena. My husband and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully. But you have more important things to worry about. Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are... But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the waterlock to set a few...
The waterlock? That was broken. Could this be it?
Oh my. What happened to the waterlock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another sleepless night.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
This will surely lead to a cryptozoological mystery with that extremely rare insect. Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the waterlock's been repaired. And it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her.
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy.
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline, but you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic elite. There's really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you about her work. Go on.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, I could really use the company too.
One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza. And I don't. Just one.
Or he'll be disappointed in you. Ooh, tough choice there.
What an interesting question. And the answer...
Of course. All fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them.
It's the Col de Mama d'Aqua. Its name means thin whisper of sound, and that's precisely what it is. Self-replicating sound waves, invisible and intangible. The Col de Mama is very afraid of us, which makes it incredibly difficult to track.
Col de Mama d'Aqua can also be translated as a whisper light and low.
Yes, that's another translation. They're both quite lovely, aren't they? Although the low part is a little ironic. The Col de Mama d'Aqua makes, or rather is, such a high...
Fine, I'll bite. How can an animal be a sound?
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. It could be. As I said, it could be everywhere. And we wouldn't know any better. It could be ringing all the... Plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 20s, a group of Areopagite ornithologists, when playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed the scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be feeding, mating, and migration patterns based on sound waves in a strictly deep...
She transforms, when speaking about these strange animals, into a confident woman.
They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Col de Mama d'Aqua. They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Even though they couldn't see them, they could sequester, time, Joscan. Those are but some of the Mama d'Aqua they followed. That is a sad story. A group of university students assisting with the field work in their they tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound. So they started sending out sound waves at frequencies they thought might match the Mama d'Aqua.
This lady really should be a teacher. She's really good at the explaining things thing. Psst. They cancel each other out. Psst.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they happened upon the right frequency, well, they wiped out most of the population. After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of anomalies similar to those spotted in Ea, but they've been few and far between.
Of course. A common thread in these. Disappearance and unfalsifiability. I like the story, though, ma'am.
I'm glad you did, dear. What about what?
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid.
The lieutenant pauses. Something in him breaks.
Ah, fuck it. Let's have more cryptids.
Well, the most dangerous cryptid is thought to have been the gnome of Jeroma. None of its victims survived. Or even relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue almost entirely. It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and a gangly little thing. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very little species?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science.
Alas, always alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly convenient?
I understand your skepticism, but that's what happens with things that are rare and stand out. Their disappearance is most memorable, and they are least likely to be found again. Cryobacter catlensis. Yes, a unicellular bacterium that was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Kotla. The bacterial colony Mijanu found had remained alive while Mijanu disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study. Yes, the bacteria had survived in the eye.
It's actually a little hard to see, but do go on.
Yes, and she's quite mad, too. After she treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became increasingly eccentric and irascible, so that even her oldest friends were forced to pull away. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the Cryobacter catlensis coursing through her bloodstream. That would be the giant of Kokonur. The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Kokonur Desert in South Samara, across the barren wastes. A mirage or a psychogenous luminance. No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost a third of your field of vision. The towering luminosity of Kokonur is a bad omen in local folklore. Some say it's a fata morgana, others, fate unimaginable.
Hui. No animal can be that large. It's a mirage.
That's what makes it so peculiar. A species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Kokonur desert might allow—
Great. This is great shit. You need more. Gravity anomaly? Digging it. Digging this parascientific stuff right here.
Of course, dear. Oh dear. I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work.
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but via dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to— we hit it off and, well—
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. But I shouldn't bore you with entomological—
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but—
Ah yes, Phasmatodea. A diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves, that sort of thing. Oh yeah. Here comes the interesting.
where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. Hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll lend—
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoology.
It's not made up, officer. It's simply elusive, so much so that most establishment zoologists— well, some teenagers making out in the reed saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses. Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully? Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years. Oh dear. I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure. Surely things can't be that bad?
You sense that she won't judge you, no matter what you say.
You know where we are, right? That's right. And where is the whirling itself located? Yes, indeed. We are in the fine city of Revachol. Yes. Great, see? We're getting somewhere. What else do you know about our city of splendor? Tattered as she may be, the new disco dancing. It seems like a lifetime ago. Much has changed, but it is still the most beautiful city in the world. A rare jewel set in the sand between the pines. Everyone says so, even foreigners. Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes? That's right, dear. How splendid. Here, take this pen. Knowledge should always be rewarded.
Her relief is palpable. She was getting pretty worried about you there, but now she relaxes her shoulders.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Oh, sweetie, it's really not. There used to be people. Revachol is a zone of control led by an alliance of foreign powers called the Coalition.
But they still have cops.
Oh dear. And you were doing so well. There aren't really any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense. But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break. Besides, I'm not the best. You were doing quite well up until the end there. It does look like you're having trouble remembering things.
A sigh.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes is what the world needs. And while I'm no doctor, such bouts of amnesia are often temporary.
She means this sincerely. Worrying won't do you any good.
A defeat, I'm afraid. The people of this archipelago tried to build something new. It has something to do with someone more educated in sweeping matters.
No, I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either. I'm a police officer.
Of course. Then, I don't know, someone rich maybe. Wealthy people, but thank you, sweetie. You did make me forget about my worries for a while.
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your Copo type. Yes, guess what's yours? That is only a ludicrous daydream. Guess again. You're the... No, you're the sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Let's make it official then, shall we? What? Jealous of the sorry cop? I think they'll be fine. Don't worry. They'll be super fine. It'll be totally okay. You can dual Copo type from sorry to anything. Of course you are. It's okay. See if you can get something out of this, like info. Or maybe every time you say you're sorry, you get $1 million. That won't happen.
Yes? What do you want to know? No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. I can assure nothing like that will happen. Do you know why not? No, something isn't happening, because it's not part of reality.
The gesture resembles an orchestra conductor bringing the choir to a full stop. So desperately mundane. You need to funk this case up. There's something the lieutenant isn't seeing. The universe is too irrational, too morally complex. You should convince him.
Maybe you can tell me what you do know, to help me narrow it down a bit. Then you are not that far behind, actually. Do you want me to brief you? There's no reason to wing anything. If you didn't get the brief, that's okay. I did. 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver, during that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. A security guard or worker of some sort, hired by Wild Pines. This was just hearsay from Martinez, of course. We need to find out the truth. They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. The desk could identify. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers' union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing too. We cannot. Just to be clear, we are police officers. It's our job to find the killer. That's the case. Uncover and arrest the killer. I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a pissing competition. You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. That's good. Better still than an imbecile cop-off. It's just stupidity. We shouldn't waste any more time on it. If you want my take, ask me after we've inspected the victim. Later. Was there anything good?
Only banal things strike you. At the core, one you should be ashamed of. It's no wonder the soft one doesn't want to.
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love... Yes, and the phone company is taking its sweet time sending someone to fix it. Losers. It's not strange, it's inconvenient. Who told you that? Fine, yeah. It looked like someone had messed with the wiring. It was shortly after the hanging, but I don't know if it's at all related. Plenty of assholes around here who aren't murderers. If you do find out who cut the line, though, let me know, so I can forward them the repair bill. Yes?
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod. He looks up at you, then looks away. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's... You see a heavy steel door with...
Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
That's right. I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make...
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her.
What you want is of no significance, officer.
I saw what you were thinking. You want to say, what are you going to do to me? Don't. Just because it's in your head doesn't mean you have to say it.
Aggressive? You make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Look, a comedian. Do your job, ask your questions, then get out of Martinez.
Strange. It's as if people don't believe a cop could be a socialist revolutionary.
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems? What are we going to do to you?
You were specifically asked not to say that, and then you said it anyway, you junior delinquent. But you still did.
The union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate. It is a labor organization.
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But
Hey. Psst. Psst. Hey, you. Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again. You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pocket, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff. Oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Don't deny it. You're about to rip it off and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that would devour and masticate mankind. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it? Failure. It's about failure. Yes, abject failure. Total, irreversible defeat on all fronts. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb-stomped and pissed on. Until you came along. You will reverse the fortune of the workers of the world. You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organized ruling class. Towering city blocks of bankmen who have the ears of prime ministers. Million-headed armies of nations and the love of your own mother. You against the atom, the charm and the spin. Where the whole world failed. Matter failed to bend to human will. Human will failed to get out of bed and tie its laces. You alone, single-handedly, will rebuild the dreams of the working class. You are the last communist. Now get to work, comrade. Oh yeah, get the firing squads and the animal wagons ready. Too late to back out now. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few million eggs. Was that? Could it be the Col de Mama Dakwa? No, it's probably just your imagination ringing in your ear. There seems to be an extremely high-pitched ring. Ultrasonic. Lena said it was very high-pitched, right? It's like something tickles your ear. Lena also said that it couldn't be heard by any other animal, including humans. What you're hearing must just be a regular bird. There it is again. You're about to rediscover a long-lost species. It must be very close. Maybe, just maybe, it will come toward you. Keep still. It might perch on your shoulder. Oh no. The sound. It's moving away. Somewhere over there. Go after it. No. Too late. It's gone. There is no ringing anymore. Just the sound of the streets. Keep your ears peeled, then. If the species really has migrated to Martinez, you're sure to hear it again. There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. Emitting it is all it does now. As you breathe in, the odor comes over you. It's a smell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty. With your hands at your sides and your eyes squinting, you stand. The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and enameled boots. His skin is greenish, marbled with decaying veins, and blotched by lividity. A fading web of tattoos covers his chest and shoulders. The material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast to the decaying flesh above the knee. Delicate and fragile, they feel alien to the world. These are clearly not boots. They're armor, possibly part of a larger set.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots. Ceramic plate, zirconium dioxide most likely. Under the heel, fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff. Piece by piece, he's been out here for 7 days. It would be odd if they didn't. We should keep a lookout for these species. The armor could yield information. This is one thing he might actually know.
The sabatons dangle off the man's decaying form, ageless and synthetic. A small bell-like sound fills the air, like tapping on the side of a porcelain cup.
It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads kinetic energy horizontally, from plate to plate, dissipating it.
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These like whirls of floorboards. The design looks organic, influenced by highly resistant wood materials, like lignum vitae and ebony perhaps. If trees were made of porcelain, this is what their cross-sections would look like. The smooth, glossy surface fractures into ever more intricate interconnections, peaking on the right sabaton, where you notice. The whirls are in the shape of a letter and number combination, E50, 100, 1000.
Good. Can you read it to me?
X5415 6745 678 222. Let's lie.
We have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us. It is. It's expensive. We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabularies deemed it too costly. In that time, we've lost, for a full set, about 4 years of wages.
For the northwest region of Revachol, an officer's average yearly income is 5,500 rial, unadjusted for rank.
Not too much, yes. It's a sorry situation, I agree. That's for us to find out. My initial report on the area suggests he was a security guard for the harbor company, but just something I scraped together from my station. An area report on Martinez. I'm sure you did the same. I agree. This equipment is way beyond what a guard can afford.
This feels dangerous. Are you sure? The sabatons dangle off the man's decaying form. The cadaver slowly. The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard edge. This is a steel-reinforced cargo lashing belt. Big brother of the regular cargo belt. It's used.
Airlifting. I thought it was used on lorries for strapping cargo to them. The local harbor uses 6 rotors to shuffle containers around. I get the sense they use whatever was on hand without paying much attention to not incriminating themselves. I'm still approaching this as a lynching, yes, motivated by the ongoing strike. You?
No. You feel like it was something else. But what?
Yes, it often is. This bell worries me. I was afraid it would be. Thin steel wiring, parallel strands. This makes getting him down more problematic than a noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around. That ladder can't carry a grown man. I didn't see any splintering either, did you? I think they lassoed the branch, then pulled on...
Could be. The shape of the branch supports the theory. The cadaver hangs from the cargo belt. An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. His corpse is marked by stars, alcohol, and heartbreak.
Of no nation that I know of. If anything, it reminds me of religious illumination, last or penultimate century. Men who live harsh lives often turn to... I agree.
He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open. Sounds like a sword being unsheathed. A small lens appears. Some sort of...
A Trigger Sunshine. Mini.
Triggered is the world's leading manufacturer of intercommunication devices, primarily projectors. The camera...
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera.
This is the first time he openly acknowledges the kid's existence.
I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper, rolling out.
In case we need it. Yes, it is pretty cool, isn't it?
There is only one ampoule left. Use it wisely.
It contains insight to the victim's person. By his build, I'd say this was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter, to us. Someone should decipher it. We'll need to show it around. Sure, just don't lose it.
The glossy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as colorful as the His eyes are milky white and blind to the world. Protruding dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside. The death's head grin has passed. The corpse is dead silent.
Who is he? He is male, 40-50, with an athletic build.
The corpse looks right through you as you distance yourself from. As you narrow your eyes, the monster before you blurs into a violent mess of green and pink. This is a trick. You've done it before. Pink is where the blood settled in the first hours post-mortem. You can use it to see if the corpse has been tampered with. Does his position at the time of death match the discoloration? Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his neck, just above the noose. The rest of the corpse appears dark.
I see it. His neck too. The lividity goes right up his chin. We have good, well-pronounced discoloration here.
The monster comes back into focus, an explosion of color, coursing with dark marbled veins. His stomach appears pregnant.
So, what do you think? I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents have made our jobs harder with their little sport.
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
He means you fucked him up good, Kuno. Fucked him up brutal-like.
Agreed. Especially on the neck. The belt acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis supports a hanging. There's always a chance. We should check for ligament marks on his neck to see if they're in tune with the belt. We'll have to get him down first. I agree.
There are crow's feet in his eyes. He's laughing silently. His personality is no longer a part of the world.
Totally dead. That sounds about right, yes.
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud below the man's feet. Purging.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion at the time of death.
The fuck he's saying?
Talking about shit.
Did we? I don't feel lucky.
But there is no breath to catch. Only the cadaver.
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done. The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good angle of approach to the belt.
He doesn't actually think the challenge is unique. He thinks it's frustrating.
The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting the airship strength material. Someone else? You mean like the police? Someone already did. You know who came? We did. Because we have made bad life decisions. I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us. And we have a growing sanitary concern here. We need to get him down, fast. Climb up there and saw the branch? There has to be a less risky way, with less falling down of trees.
Yeah! Bang bang time, pig! Shoot his head off!
How?
Where the buckle ties the rope to the branch. That's a good spot to aim.
Where? Ah, yes, I see. If the shot hits that, there might be a chance to release the belt.
Yeah, now we're talking. Entertain a Kuno with some shit.
They'll miss! The pigs will miss Kuno!
The lieutenant is undecided. On one hand, he wants to shoot some gun. On the other, it's an awfully stupid idea. The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He appears too deep in concentration to even notice what you said.
I'll blow his head off.
Take it! Take the shot!
Yeah, take the shot. Kuno wants some of that shit.
Silence. With his elbow sharp, the lieutenant unzips his jacket and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 tucks, securing it in place. That's a Kiel A9090 Armistice, mass-produced muzzle-loader, as he then steps back and assumes the fellow's desk position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the trigger.
He's gonna fucking miss!
The kid's voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenements. A cloud of smoke slowly parts in the air as the lieutenant steps back and says to himself,
God damn it.
Fucking idiot! Muckabah asshole!
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he? Kuno's sorry too. Kuno feels sorry for the Beano Cloud.
The lieutenant doesn't say a word, just looks at the gun in his hand.
No, we are lucky as it is. We didn't break anything, and the victim remains uncompromised. Any more mistakes could put us in an unfortunate position with the locals. We have eyes on us. I didn't do us any favors with that. I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down without assistance. It's bad as it is. us shooting firearms like punks. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Just don't lose it.
They only have one gun.
This is the sorriest pair of pigs Kuno's ever seen.
Yeah, take it, you fucking banani boyka. Take it and shoot yourself in the mouth.
The cold piece of bakelite and gunmetal is surprisingly light. Your fingers fit right through the guard, instinctively resting on the trigger.
The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno? Tell him to shoot himself in the mouth.
The buckle comes into focus in your sights. You stand with your feet planted firmly in...
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't miss.
Your field of view narrows. The branch slowly moves, becoming entirely toed. The slow movement of the branch in the wind, and your shoulders directing the gun's sink.
Look, he's crying. You gonna cry now, fucking faggoty? Or what? You gonna fuck me? You wanna fuck me, pig? Is that what this is about? Do it! Set me free!
You feel as though it would be dangerous to set this creature free to roam about the cosmos.
Don't.
Do it!
Intense shit, copper.
Fucker waved his gun! It wasn't intense, it was pathetic!
The lieutenant takes the gun carefully from you and holsters it.
Fucking pussy didn't shoot shit, did he? Didn't shoot me, didn't...
We need to access the harbor and ask the leader of the Union to have it taken down. They have the tools, and they have men. I did not want us to be indebted to Everard Clare. I wanted us to be able to deal with it ourselves. That is...
You need to suck my dick! Why the fuck am I still alive?
the leader of the Union. A dangerous and corrupt man. One you don't want to be indebted to.
The man before you is naked.
What do you see?
So you tried to kill Kuno's girl? What's up with that? You want to talk about it? What? Bitch! You fucking making excuses for yourself now?
Not all of us. Acts like that stick with you for a while.
No one's moving anywhere. Do this shit again, and Kuno's gonna climb in your room at night with a knife. Kuno knows where you sleep. The pig who fucked his window up. I'm gonna climb in through that balcony, put the fucking knife in you. Yeah, I've been in your room. But you and Kuno are good for now, pals. Shoot that shit at Kuno. Let's have a jolly time.
The determination in his voice leaves little room for doubt in his sincerity. He means every word. Needs to be taken seriously.
And you're back in business with the Kuno. Now what is it?
Kuno is a merciful king, kind to his wayward subjects.
Fucking right, pig. Kuno's filling bathtubs with that shit. Kuno's a kingpin. Fuck no, pig. Kuno ain't dealing to the popo. Not doing the pork pen for your sad speed habit. You don't know Kuno.
Belying the act, he's actually telling the truth. Or at least 0.00001% of it. He has a little speed. He's just not giving it to you. You need to befriend him first.
Kuno doesn't fucking care.
A tarpaulin cloak is still caught on the railing. No one has claimed it for their own. Nope, no. That's still too high. What were you thinking? You're not a gymnast. You're a boxer. You could have died there. Shit, 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 shit. I'm failing you. This wasn't part of our deal.
I got you, Gratan. Let me just adjust your breathing a little bit. There, isn't that better?
Hey, what's happening? You okay? It's okay. You're just having a little panic attack. Try to breathe as slowly as you can, alright?
The necktie lets go a little. It's a vicious grip easing around your neck.
Good. We can always come back when you're feeling better. It's just a cloak after all.